meeting tonight, Monday, March 27th, 2023. We have Ken Crom, Stephen Whitley, Jeff Donahoe, I'm Sabrina Dunlap, and Thomas Lymphoma cannot be with us tonight. So we'll start with points of pride.
Sure. Couple. During the storm, there were a couple trees in the parking lot at the school that got done, and so our highway crew was in the school and took them down. So we appreciate that. Had a nice thank you note from Jim Rosicki, seconded by Superintendent Flynn. So that was good to receive, and that was working together, which we like to see. The day after town meeting, there was an Eagle Court held here for Cameron Burgess. So that was kind of exciting. We received a nice thank you letter from them. And they gave in on the town's behalf a nice donation to the Human Service Fund. So, he met with you way back.
Yeah.
So this is it's always nice. And I have to say, more than anyone that's used this room, everything was back exactly where it goes. They did an amazing job. In case anybody missed it, tomorrow is the election. So we are set, everything's set and ready to go. Thank you to the people who make that all possible, which is really a huge team effort.
I was going to thank everybody that was involved in setting up for the election, and also thank everybody who attended and participated in our business session for the annual meeting. I thought it went very well, and I thought everybody was very respectful, which was great. Neil mentioned James Rosicki, and I had invited Jim to come to our energy committee meeting, and he's a wealth of information, and I'm going to try to tap him whenever I can. A very great employee for the school.
Well, are you done with your list?
I'm done.
I echo the thanks to everyone who helped set up and take down the delayed election. And since I was out driving that day quite a bit, DPW did a great job keeping the roads clear. I think the trees were the bigger issue. And also just want to say thanks to Ken for organizing a team for Hoops on Wheels. It was super fun on Saturday.
But for those who don't know what Sabrina's talking about, Granite State Independent Living has a wheelchair basketball tournament. It's a fundraiser each year. And we have had for a number of years now, two teams. They started out both as Rotary teams, and one is sort of morphed into a Rotary elected officials team, and the other is a pure Rotary team. And we have a competition each year. I'm not going to talk about who won this year, but a number of select board members and Neil participated on the one team, and it's great fun, and it's a fundraiser.
We won one game.
Yeah, but not against the
Well,
Hopkins.
they were tired. They were fresh because they didn't have games for. And some might say they played a little dirty.
I'm going to be hearing about this road.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
No, it was very fun.
Maybe an advantage to have played a game, but it wasn't.
No, yeah,
Certainly not back to back.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like one right after.
it was fun. So thanks for organizing that. Anything else for points of pride? All right, next we have approval of the consent agenda.
Sure, I'll move we approve the consent agenda of March 27, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Next, we have the public meeting minutes from March 13th, 2023, and I have one minor clarification I would like to make on page 4. It notes that I added the Open Space Committee unanimously did not support the petition, which is true. I just want to clarify that Open Space did not actually vote on it. It was just like individuals, I would say, at the meeting, the Open Space Committee meeting agreed, but did not officially vote on it. So I don't know if that's enough for you to reword that, or, okay, I just wanted to clarify that it wasn't a committee vote.
With that change, I'll move we approve the public meeting minutes of March 13th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Next, we have approval of the non-public meeting minutes from March 13th, 2023, session 1.
Do we have those? Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, they're in here.
I was gonna say they're here.
The orange one?
These things?
Yes.
Sorry, I missed this.
We're not going to see.
Yeah, I don't think unless. I don't think.
Okay, I'll move in. No, we are not going to seal them.
Okay.
They are sealed. They're both sealed.
So,
Yep, sure.
They say sealed, but can we remove that
You can
now?
vote to unseal them.
Okay.
But you did vote to seal them.
okay, so we can approve sealed and then vote to unseal. So,
Okay, so I'll start by moving, we approve the minutes.
Will second.
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And now I'll move, we unseal the minutes.
I will second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Then I'll similarly move, we approve the non-public meeting minutes, session 2. Note that they are sealed at this point.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, now I'll move that we unseal them.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you all. We don't have any public appointments today, do we?
No.
Okay.
Later.
Oh, okay. So we have old business up first. And first, under that is the housing committee appointments. Okay, so we had quite a few applicants, which was nice. I'm trying to find our final list on here.
It is.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 5B.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
5A, maybe. Yeah.
So does anyone want to add anything, or should I just read the list?
My memory is that the last time we talked about it, that the planning board had yet to recommend someone. Did they?
Richard.
It's,
Okay, and has anyone heard from Thomas about?
I have not heard.
I think he's going to be the select board.
Okay, okay.
So,
I see him down here with a question mark. I just didn't know. if there
yeah,
was
I think
any more recent information.
based on my last conversation with him, I believe he's 99% there, so,
Okay.
He ran thousands of miles away, so we couldn't ask.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry, just while you're on that. Rich Steele, I just want to make sure that you're okay. If Rich cannot attend the meeting, the board would like to send an alternate to that person today. Or something to that effect. It doesn't have to be the official alternate if you're okay with that. Or how would you like to handle it? Maybe that's a good discussion you have.
Is there, does he know that he has limited sort of availability?
He's working on, he's an anesthesiologist and an attorney, and he's working on his schedule change at Concord Hospital.
Yeah,
And we recognize that at planning board level where we can see. So, he was their person selected, but it was left that, hey, if you have a conflict, you by all means send somebody else. But if you're not feeling comfortable with that type of open, I just wanted to throw that.
yeah. I don't,
Non-voting, I don't know.
I don't want to second guess the planning board's sort of decision to suggest him. And it doesn't, the housing committee hasn't set up any sort of schedule yet, so maybe it won't be an issue.
Well, I don't need to revert back to it, but he, I'm passing on his email contacts to Neil. I left it with Rich that he hopefully, the select board, the committee could sit around and say what they want to do, not to you, meaning everybody in the committee.
Yeah.
I do have to tell you, he was involved.
Okay.
My opinion, you may not want to.
So I can't wait to meet the alternate.
You may not want to send it back.
It's good to know.
Well, maybe we could put a pin in that and,
Well, I just want to let you know.
no, I appreciate that. Yeah,
He's actually
yeah,
not being any official.
Yeah.
But if another board member shows up, I wanted to make. sure.
yeah. Thank you. But maybe the committee could discuss when they're discussing their schedule.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen. So, we had great people apply and more than we could put on for the 5 spots for the at-large positions. For people from like the town who will be on it, we've got Richard Steele, we hope, for the planning board. Louise Carr for Economic Development Committee. Don Barry for Human Services, possibly, most likely Thomas for Select Board. And then we have Craig Dunning, Dave Feller, Catherine Mitchell, Tricia Moran, and Jack Ruderman. And it was a very difficult thing to try to decide who to not put on here because everybody was very qualified and we deeply appreciate people stepping up and being willing to be on a town committee. So thank you to everybody who put their name in. We tried to balance backgrounds and get a good variety on here. So that's the list. And I think when Thomas is back, we can see if he's 100% the select board person. And then I think he can help coordinate getting like the schedule.
Right.
Schedule.
And you want to vote? Everybody, be Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will, unless anyone else wants to talk about it anymore further, I will make a motion to appoint the following individuals to the Housing Committee. Richard Steele for the Planning Board, Louise Carr for the EDC, Don Barry for Human Services, and then the at-large members, Craig Dunning, David Feller, Catherine Mitchell, Tricia Moran, and Jack Ruderman.
Yeah, second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Great. All right, next under old business, we have town meeting 2023. So elections tomorrow, we hope.
Actually,
I think that's a guarantee.
can't
Hopefully.
be postponed because there's no national weather service.
That's right, okay.
Warning.
There's still, 15 minutes for that to happen.
That's it.
Okay, so I hope everybody can make it out to vote, and I assume Sarah didn't have anything to pass along. Okay, so that's 7 to 7 tomorrow.
I'll note that absentee ballot processing will begin at 9. It's posted here. It's posted everywhere, but
Okay.
just so people know, there are a lot, over 200 absentee ballots.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Gee, I wish you could help count those, but I'm on.
I mean, I love being part of election day and it breaks my heart that I can't be part of it because I'm on the ballot, but thank you to everybody who steps up to be,
Count the ballots.
everybody who steps up to help count ballots and help run the election day. So you guys will be there, right? Okay. All right, so that's 7 to 7 tomorrow at the high school. So hopefully everyone can make it out to vote. All right, next up, we have the business session review / follow-up.
So we've contacted bond counsel to begin working on the bond, so we'll have more information. on That, so put on here, you can set you now can set the pay by bag price. I didn't know if you had a process you wanted to go through to.
So I heard from Thomas from afar that he has thoughts and research on this and would like to discuss it at the next meeting. So I said I would pass it along.
I think, at the same time we talk about that, it might make sense. I suggest it makes sense to talk about enforcement. Because I
Yeah.
think the two go hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if we'll finish that conversation, but we need to start it.
Yeah, and I think the waste reduction committee should be part of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then small turnout.
Yeah, and it was interesting, the town administrators met, the area town administrators met last week, and it sounds like there was a small turnout anywhere, but it really was really small turnout, so, one of my thoughts was to do a survey to gather some information as to whether different times, is it really hard to have 2 Saturdays in a row, for example?
Yeah.
And no matter when you have it, I know you run into issues, but
When I first moved to town, it was Tuesday night, I think.
yeah, traditionally,
Yeah.
all towns were Tuesday night, and some towns still hold it at night.
I noticed the Monitor had a piece that listed all the town meetings, and there was a substantial number that do a weeknight.
Yeah,
Um,
quite a few. Most have moved. I think there may only be one town left that does it on Tuesday. I think I read that in the paper.
What town is it? I'm just
I
curious.
think it's in the Keene area.
So that
It might
would
be
start in.
It might be
after
Roxbury. There are only 150 people in Roxbury, so it's different, but and there are options of it's kind of interesting, like some towns have done, I know Peterborough that's gone to a hybrid where they have some things on the ballot, but that like if the budget doesn't pass, then it goes to town meeting. So there's
Interesting.
some things out there. It just seemed like maybe it's worth at least investigating to figure out what's the best.
Yeah, I agree. I have had a bunch of people bring up changing from a Saturday. I think the back-to-back Saturdays are very difficult. I know there was some school thing, Destination Imagination, you lost like at least 50 parents to that, or people who are volunteering. And I know there were a lot of sports things happening, basketball and skiing among them. But it was a particularly low turnout. So I'm definitely in favor of talking about, I mean, we'll never be able to find a day and time that pleases everyone, unfortunately. And since we are a town meeting model, we have no choice but to do this model of meeting. So I think that's a conversation we should continue. And I think a survey is a great idea.
Is a survey, is that something that we can set up and send out?
Yes, because
And when I say we, I really mean town administrator.
I get the we.
You've heard that
Yes,
before.
we do have, we have Survey Monkey.
That's right.
We would set it up and put it out there to as many people as possible. So I'll try to work and bring a draft to the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Neil. Are we ready to go on to new business? All right, so first up, we have Johnson sidewalk request.
They are interested in a sidewalk from end of Hennecook Road on the opposite side of the road up to Indian Ridge. It's not a bad idea. But probably we have certainly upgrading the Maple Street sidewalks and some of the other ones that have already tried to get done as part of TAP. Seem like a higher priority at this point.
How do we logistically, since it's the state, right? Do we just request to them?
Well, the state's not going to do it.
You have
We
to
would
pay for
request
it.
permission to do it. There's no, unless it's through the TAP funding, which is 80-20, which is what we're.
Which road are we, I thought we were talking about.
It's on, right on the main. It's hot. I can't remember where I think it's still Hopkinton Road, probably Main Street starts right there.
There's somebody to this.
Laura's here. I don't know if she wants to speak to it or not.
Laura, would you like to speak to it?
Well, I wrote the letter, I think that pretty much says everything.
Okay, if you want
Oh.
to, you could speak into the mic, or if you just want to leave it at the letter.
Speed.
So, yeah, I live right on Main Street and there's always a ton of people walking. My daughter, I brought it up years ago and I mentioned it to someone that said they were working on like downtown Kentucky. Nothing ever came of it. I asked my neighbors, you know, how would you feel? Because I didn't know how it worked. You know, would it be on the other side of the street and people get mad at me for bringing it up or whatever? And everybody was fine with it. That lives on the street and they all said that I talked to anyway, and they all said they would love to have one because people are always walking from Smithfield and from Woodland and just like all around there. There's always people don't slow down. A lot of times people don't move over a lot of times. My daughter got hit by a car like last month there. And I don't know if a sidewalk would have made a difference, but if you've ever walked that section, people drive really close to you and stuff. So it's very much a possibility that it could have helped. And the other thing is getting over to the sidewalk on Pennacook when you're walking into town. There's kind of a blind corner. And so the safest really is to keep walking down Main Street until you get to the cemetery and then cross. But there's not like a really good way to get there aside from that. And yeah, I just feel like we're within walking distance and tons of people are there. And I did call the state to see what the process was. And they said there is like a program, maybe that's the TAP you were mentioning.
Yeah.
But they said there was a program and they're not, what the person I talked to said, something like they have all the projects they're going to have until like 2025 or something, but then they'll add projects to it. So, but I figured I'm better off asking now and. Yeah.
I believe you had also mentioned about crosswalks. And I just wanted to confirm with Neil, you have to have a sidewalk on both sides to have a crosswalk?
Yes, in order to put a crosswalk across the state highway, excuse me, you have to have a place for someone to come from and to the sidewalks. But if you came down like from Smithfield down, you could come to one spot and have one, because we do have sidewalks from really the cemetery back down.
Yeah, so there feasibly could be a crosswalk across from the cemetery or right around there.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
To cross it. We can certainly add that, looking at that whole thing to the mix as we look at all the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Apply for grants to get those.
I'm sympathetic. We want to see a kid get hurt. Listen, we got hit by a car several times when he was young. I can tell you, sometimes it just happens. We had sidewalks on every street in town. It's like, my concern is that we're not maintaining the sidewalks we have. I walked from the village to the post office today. It's got to be 400 cracks and big chunks of asphalt. I know it's a state road. I don't know who's responsible for that. I assume it's us. Big discussion about being $20 million behind the road maintenance. I just don't know how we build more sidewalks. We can't maintain the ones that we have. And, you know, that's my only comment. Is I just don't know how we're fit.
Is it our responsibility or is it the state's?
It is, they do not maintain or
Oh,
do anything with sidewalks.
okay.
Even on their roads. They're happy to not have sidewalks.
I'm just curious what the cost would be to put in the sidewalk for that stretch of road. So like a back of the envelope sort of.
I can tell you that when we did the the Pennacook Road sidewalk, basically from the cemetery to Indian Ridge intersection.
Yeah.
that added about $50,000 to the project. And that was when the road work was already being done.
Hmm.
So it's not an insignificant amount.
Right.
And that was 7 or 8 years ago or
Different
more.
dollars.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
probably,
The state owns the road easement,
yes,
so we'd have to get a sub easement from them or from the property owners.
yeah, we'd have to,
Wire the land.
Yeah.
Or control. Easement on land.
right, depending on how wide their easement is there.
Is this something that your reconstituted
Yeah, I
committee is
was
sort of looking
thinking
at?
that, yeah. The committee has not met yet, this
Yeah.
is safety. I don't know what the official name is gonna be, but basically,
Highway Safety Committee.
there we go. So I think this would be a good thing for that group to look at, and consider. And I mean, to Jeff's point, if there's other things we can do to get people to slow down there, to start, might be faster and easier to do that while we think about trying to fit or assess whether a sidewalk makes sense or not. So. Yeah, I think that can be on the list of things for that committee.
When the police are like stationed down there, I mean, they are always stopping people. People are always speeding by there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if there's anything else that can be done, that would be, because it's not just my family walking, it's, I mean, a ton of people walk from there. And we're running and such, and there is a decent amount of space. It's just, it kind of goes down, and so people stay on the road and.
Have the police set up the electronic speed signs?
I think there was one, was that the one that was stolen? I think that might have been the one that was stolen or someplace, right?
There was one there, the South Road one was stolen.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The one that was there, I mean, it was, I mean, you don't, I'll speak for myself. I didn't realize the speed I was carrying when you come down that.
It's
So
true.
it was
yeah.
very effective to have that
Yeah.
there to slow people down.
It's very effective
Yeah.
for as long as it's there.
Yeah,
Well, and maybe coming into the village is, we need to look at more permanent solar driver feedback signs like
Yeah.
those, we might be able to do those with grants. We keep trying.
Yeah.
Portable ones are nice, but I think there's certain areas in town that really need them
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
yeah. All right, well, thanks for coming in, Laura. Thanks for your letter. And glad everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Scary.
Thanks for the consideration. Appreciate it.
Okay, so next we have the Conservation Commission request.
Where we've talked about that fence before. It's just the snow's gone. It's scheduled to point. This is at the transfer station. And we'll look at the area for a fence and whether that's feasible or not. But certainly it is scheduled to be. Like, yeah, how it blows, maybe that will.
Yeah,
It's certainly very legitimate concern.
yeah.
We just need to make sure to talk to Dan about how the fence. Catch fence will impact his ability to clear snow.
Right, because it has to be cleared through there. And that's a
Yeah.
tighter area, so. we'll work on that.
Okay. Finally, under new business, the grant authorization.
So the request is that there's 2 DES grants that we've received, that you authorize them and then authorize me to sign them. The first one is from the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And this is, we received an asset management grant, which is 100% funding to do the asset to really put together and put a plan together for the asset management of the wastewater treatment facility.
And how much is it for now?
It's 25,000.
Do you need me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, if you could
Okay.
adopt or,
One at a time?
yeah,
Okay.
just so, because this is reference.
I move that the board, let me do it this way. Clean Water State Revolving Fund, the Hopkinton Select Board with authority to certify actions hereby votes to enter into a Clean Water State Revolving Fund grant agreement with DES to fund the development and implementation of an asset management program for the town of Hopkinton wastewater treatment infrastructure, and further authorizes town administrator Neil Cass to execute any documents which may be necessary to effectuate the grant agreement.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
All right.
Next one, this is the ARPA, the Hopkinton Select Board with authority to certify actions hereby votes to enter into a Clean Water State Revolving Fund grant agreement with DES to fund improved energy efficiency as recommended in the December 2022
22.
updated May, maybe December.
2021.
Yeah, let me restate that. Recommended in the December 2021, updated May 2022 energy evaluation for the town of Hopkinton wastewater treatment facility completed by Process Energy Services LLC, and further to authorize town administrator Neil Cass to execute any documents which may be necessary to effectuate the grant agreement.
And this is the solar for the,
And it's
Wastewater
like
treatment.
350,000 or thereabouts.
the grant is 200, just over 250,000, with then further 96,000 coming from Rex. But that's separate.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
All right.
All right. Next, we have town administrator update.
Sure. You saw in your read file or in the consent agenda that we did have some resignations. Lieutenant Shepard has resigned from the police department. He is gone to do more of his prosecution for the city of Nashville, I believe, and he's doing more prosecution, which is what he really wants to do. We had one of our part-time employees leave the transfer station. And then we had 2 highway people resign. One's going to the state of New Hampshire. I think the plowing this winter just did in a couple of weeks. I think that the police chief has some options that he's reviewing right now. So my hope is we'll have somebody to present to you at your next meeting. And I think we have filled at least one of the highway positions and with a plan to fill the transfer station too, and we'll come with a plan at your next meeting too. So I feel like we can move more quickly. These positions are not going to sit open for a long time, which I'm happy to say.
That's good.
Oh yeah, some other. We are finalizing the solar RFP, which is the solar for the wastewater treatment plant. So that will be out. We just approved the asset management, so we'll begin working on that. We received today our preliminary equalization ratio, which is at 68.6, which means our property is assessed at 68.6% of its selling value. That actually is higher than I expected because I've been seeing things, 40 to 50% below. So,
Wow.
So 2024 is our reval year. Based on this, you're going to see property values go up 32%. Just a reminder that means the tax rate drops an equal amount, all other things being equal. So that is getting in the range where DRA is going to say, do a reval, but we are in that process. And we could have moved up, adjusting all the rates, but I think this is the smarter way to do it, to see where the market ends up. And if it stabilizes, it will be in 2024, then that's what we'll see, or who knows what it's going to do. But
Do you get the feeling that residential is going up higher and commercial industrial is a smaller increase?
we see so little sales with commercial, we don't have much commercial or industrial, so I do pretty much everything we see is residential, so I haven't seen that that's changed.
What was our EQ last year?
It was 70, I think it was 78.
Okay.
That pretty sure. Oh, let's see, so those are sales in 2022. So I haven't looked at 2023 to see if we're in the same area, but it appears I kind of track sales as they come in. We get a notice and sort of unscientifically compare the assessed value to the selling price. It appears that we're still, things are selling 40 to 50% above assessed value. I think that's what I have.
Do you have any follow-up for good? I mean, for Neil?
For Neil, actually, just a question from a conversation I was having off the record. When we use credit cards for any, do we use credit cards for any payment?
We do.
And do we get a percentage back?
We do not presently. We have looked at options that may do that.
Okay, so it's on your
It is
radar.
on the radar.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
It's to get a credit card for the town is there aren't as many options out there as there are certainly for individuals. So,
Okay.
but it's also on Kevin's radar. We've talked about looking at our options.
I'll just mention that the Energy Committee has been quite busy, and in closed session, I'll be talking about recommendations with regards to hydro. But one other thing we're doing is we're looking into community power. And there are apparently two different ways you can go. Well, three, you don't have to go anywhere, or you can go one of two different ways with community power. We had a speaker in from one of those groups at our last meeting. We're going to have a speaker in from the other coalition at our next meeting, which is April 13th. And we did have a fair number of members of the public there.
Oh, good. Excellent. Okay, so next we have public forum. See, we have one person online, and if anyone who's here would like to speak, now is your chance. Oh, Catherine had her hand up.
Just a couple of things.
If it's lengthy, if you don't mind, so you can pick it up on the mic coming up.
I don't think it's lengthy.
Okay.
Even if
I'll try to make sure it isn't. First, I want to thank you for the appointment to the Housing Committee. I appreciate that. And just a couple of things for historical perspective. With the town meeting time, I remember too the Tuesday night meetings, and my recollection was that came to an end after a meeting that went until 1 a.m. That wasn't typical. I'm not sure it needed to change to Saturday, but I think that was the impetus. I think it is a problem that so few people show up. And the other thing I wanted to just briefly mention with regard to the history is the bag price, as you're looking at how to set that. The thinking back when we had put the price in effect, when the pay by bag program was first voted in, was that it should cover the cost of the bags, the tipping fees, and the transportation, and nothing else. None of the administration of the transfer station, none of the salaries, none of the energy costs, equipment costs. It was supposed to simply pay for the trash that people threw away. Not to say that you can't change that, of course, but I just thought that you might be interested in the historical thinking of at the time,
Yeah.
and some of that was a compromise position to make sure the bag prices weren't too high. But I think the recycling committee at the time did feel that it should be in direct relation to the actual costs of disposing of the trash.
That's
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Louise, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Thank you.
Louise Carp, Burnham, Intervale Road. So, on the housing committee, so do we know when, there'll be the first meeting?
No, we don't yet. So Thomas gets back, I think, a week from today, he'll be back, but, I think he needs to work with Neil to figure out when to,
We'll probably do a doodle poll for the first meeting.
yeah. I know people want to get moving, so.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, especially while, I always get her name wrong.
Ivy.
Ivy, thank you. I want to say Amy, and I know it's not. Especially with Ivy here, I really want to work with her and kind of get a good feel and direction from her, so. So the second thing I wanted to bring up was is there support of looking into an access road at some point for the M1 zone off Burnham Intervale and Pine Street? Is there any interest into digging back into that, or,
That's an off ramp from the highway.
yeah, off ramp of some sort?
Yeah, that's,
It's expensive.
no, it's actually more, federal highway doesn't like them to be closer than a mile. And that would be too close to exit 6.
Yeah,
That would be the biggest hurdle to get over. The amount of money certainly is a big deal.
yeah, it's a lot of money too.
But another exit less than a mile more of exit 6 would be problematic.
Okay, so mile. And then, if that becomes not possible, what is the trucking? Is there any rules or regulations on trucking through the village right now?
I don't believe it is.
Yeah.
There's state roads, so you
Oh, so you can't. Okay,
can't limit state roads.
So 100 years ago, when I was on there, we looked at a bridge over the river from the far side of exit 6, about in the area. And that was, I think at the time, 25 million dollars. That was over 20 years ago.
yeah. Oh, I know, it's huge. So
You
if,
have all those plans.
oh, I know, I've got
They're
them.
posted on the website.
So I would just recently look at them all over again, which is why I'm asking the questions. And so if those areas get developed, we probably will get complaint of through trucking, you know, the trucking through the village. So just didn't know if is there something? Well, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what kind of opposition you're gonna get for that, but I just hate to see the way the tax situation is going in the next several years. That we really should start concentrating on the M1 zones and trying to work on that. And so I wanted to bring up the access road to see if there was any thought of wanting to relook at that or not. Or should we just be looking at the M1 zone and seeing anything can get generated in certain areas now? And just deal with the traffic later. Maybe if it's a chip, maybe we earn monies that way to help offset, but it'll take a long time because like you said, it's a lot of money. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there so we can get thinking about looking at housing, but I really think we also need to be looking at that other
From a marketability and developability.
Yep. Yep.
Exit 6 land. Has some good marketability, water and sewer initiative.
Yep.
The Hart's Corner property that we studied extensively.
Yep.
Also very highly developable. And again, water and sewers are concerned. I think they are even getting up with concentration to do a shared system.
Yep.
Permitted.
Yep.
Operating it as a band, of course, but I think those two have, from the town's perspective, or from the perspective of the town's tax base.
Yes.
Not-
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know what I'm saying. I'm
Yep, yep.
speaking on my own.
Yep.
From that perspective, I think those two locations are the most likely to be developed. And particularly the exit 6 property because it's adjacent to the highway.
And so you're thinking, because Interville, Pine Street, that section has quite a bit of acreage, but that does have water and sewer stops at the library, so it's not that much further to get it up there. So it would be feasible if we had the development.
It's just pretty far removed from access to the highway.
Yeah,
We talked about an exit there 25 years ago.
Yep.
It's just the federal highway department, and they're worse now, to be honest.
Yep.
You know, they want every off ramp and on ramp a mile long so they can stack traffic there. It's a problem.
yes, yeah,
And we certainly don't have that capability.
no,
You drive down 93 and you look at the exit ramps at exit 5 in particular. They extended that thing 10 times as long as it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's their goal for all of them. And Nashua was the same way.
yeah,
They extended the exit 1 and exit 2 ramps, I think.
yeah.
Just to be able to stack traffic.
Okay, I just wanted
I
to,
think extending water and sewer to the exit 6 to the church will be a lot less expensive than what you're talking about.
Well, extending water and sewer to exit 6 without the bridge, just extending sewer from the library over to Burnham Middleville is great, but the access isn't as good. You'd have to widen Burnham Middleville Road. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would go over with people live in that neighborhood.
Yep.
But I mean, I think it's a different market. Burnham Middleville developability is a different market than Hart's Corner or.
yes, yes, it is. I have a couple of thoughts in mind. But I just want to ask the questions, I guess, first. And then maybe bring it up at a EDC meeting, some of my thoughts for that particular area that wouldn't necessarily be trucks. So, okay, good, thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thanks,
Louise.
Louise.
Anyone else for public comment? Oh, Laura.
I wasn't expecting to speak, so I don't know what committee you were talking about that is discussing downtown, but just want to let you know, I guess when I was researching this, I was also told, like, my daughter wasn't the first one hit in Kitchcook. So just to add that too, I mean, we're lucky she didn't get killed. And if there's anything I can do to, like, if we can't afford sidewalks, you know, even though it's years down the road, like, if we're not even gonna try, like, if there's anything that I can do to come to the committee to, like, say, I live right there. I know people don't slow down. I can't go through what I went through again, and she's okay. So I couldn't imagine if she wasn't. And so if there's anything I can do or help out with to, like, do something. Yes.
We are looking for committee
People
members.
slow down. I'm happy to do what I can. I mean, I've thought of this for, like I said, years ago, I was asking people. I just thought, geez, it seems like a good time to bring it back up.
Yeah,
So
yes, I appreciate
Want to
that.
add.
So the committee, it used to be the roads committee, I think, basically, and it was sort of dormant for a little while. So we're revamping it. And we're gonna be looking at, like, I mean, speeding is a huge issue. And things like sidewalk, and we have not gotten that committee up and running yet, though. So if and when that happens, people will know. We'll need people
Okay.
to join, and yeah, so it's just been on the to-do list.
Okay,
Yeah. So that will be coming.
okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Vicky.
To say my name and address.
You can for the record. Thank you.
Abraham, 1722 Hopkinton Road. Okay, I didn't write anything down, so I'm just gonna try and be succinct. Through our arduous budget committee process, I was interested in the PFAS cleanup of the dump. Took a really deep dive into it. 2 days of my life went into the one stop, if you know what that is. And I'm hoping we don't miss an opportunity for communication and sharing of information with the public. I fear a backlash to next year's funding of the cleanup project if we do not properly communicate what is going on at the dump. Merrimack has a much bigger PFAS issue than we do, but I admire the website that they set up on their town website. It is 100% transparency. Every ding letter from DES is on there. Every minor adjustment that they make to the testing. I mean, you might even argue they're trying to bury their citizenry in paperwork, but it's all in chronological order. So if you're just wanting updates, you just read the stuff at the top. And it's a huge red button on the town landing page. It says PFAS info in like red. You don't even have to scroll down to get to the button. And I understand that the scale there is completely different, but PFAS is an emerging issue. So we have an opportunity to control the narrative and to make sure that not only do the powers that be understand the requirements being placed on us by the Department of Environmental Services, but also maybe our mutual moral obligation to clean this up. And I feel as though being too hands off and just saying, well, Novus said this is not going to go well a year from now at town meeting. I really feel like we can make it happen any way we want. We can do it the hard way or the easy way. And the easy way would be to get out in front of it now and to say, we don't have all the answers, but this is what we know so far. We didn't make this mess, but we're going to clean it up proactively as a group, not under closed, not buried on somebody else's website. You know what I mean? And then dovetailing to Stephen's excellent point about coupling pay-by-bag enforcement with the price conversation. I have a master's of public administration, so I really like administration, bureaucracy, technocrats. And I feel the conversation needs to include, I believe her name is Jolene. And not to say that Jolene has to come up with a solution on her own, but not including her would be a big mistake because she's the practitioner. She's the person on the ground. And I don't know Dan, but I know Dan is not responsible for like the day-to-day operations at the hopper, right? That's delegated to the people who run the dump. And the people who run the dump do a great job, but they've never been asked, as far as I know, to follow a specific enforcement plan.
That's not really correct.
Okay, so what were they, I mean, may I ask you then, if like, what was the original enforcement plan?
So, well, when we started, we were there all the time watching it. And then
Okay,
they would monitor it from there. But staffing were down after that.
yes,
It's near impossible with the number of people we have to
exactly.
do that.
No, exactly. But just coming from an administrative perspective, right? We have to manage up.
as the people who are actually doing the work that these people are asking us to do, right? We have to be given the tools to do the job. And if we don't have them, we must ask for them. And I feel as though having Jolene here while you guys are having this conversation, and I hope it doesn't cost you overtime, but you know what I mean? Like, it would be more fruitful if the practitioners were actually involved from the get-go, as opposed to sort of a trickle down assumptions about what would work best. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Following up on that point, Vicky's first point, let's say.
I like the website idea. We
That-
can
that's
certainly
sort of
do a page.
Great. Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
A very good suggestion about pay by bag. I think we will be having those conversations for sure. All right, anyone else? All right, and we'll close public comment. And next we have other. Anyone have other? Okay, so we have 4 non-publics because,
Yes, the last one's an A,
yes, it's not on here.
D, C, D,
D
and
and
A.
A. So once we vote to go into non-public, we will do those sessions and then we will come out and adjourn and will not conduct any other business. So thank you all for being here. I hope everybody votes tomorrow.